council meeting of the Village of Armada will now come to order. Will everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Call roll, please.
Shaw.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Conan.
Here.
Wolof.
Here.
Baylor.
Yep.
Slutz.
Here.
Belkey.
Here.
Okay, everyone's here, the record shows. Next is approval of the agenda. What is the council's wishes, please?
Mr. President, I'm going to request that we pull the treasurer's report.
Okay, that'll be put on for next meeting then.
That's correct. And with that, I will move that the agenda be accepted as amended.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion?
Who was second?
So,
Thank you.
any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Next is the F&B report. You have, let's see, Dave was requested, he didn't have to attend the meeting, and
I'm not sure. Did we get it?
we didn't get it.
Did it not come, Steve?
What's that?
The F&V, or is that what this is?
This is the water
That's what this
tax.
is. Okay, that's what was on your desk.
Get the second, third page.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, wastewater treatment. You have that in front of you, gentlemen?
Yep.
A couple of things have been taken care of that were on hold. The sensors in the Headworks building, and then Tony's Heating and Cooling installed a new water heater in the main building. Series of call-outs here, see it there at the bottom of that page. They have broken ground somewhat down at the plant. There's another couple of trailers down there. They've sunk some dewatering wells in. They're dewatering the area that they're going to be excavating. I haven't been down there for about 4 days now, but I'll go down there tomorrow. I just got back from the cottage, so I'll check that out. Matt was off for a little while. Him and his wife had a new little baby boy. So Brian had been running the plant for the last week or so, but now Matt is back. So I'll get in touch with him tomorrow just to see how things are going. So that's about all I've got, unless anybody's got some questions.
Yeah, Steve, I see in here where we have the UV disinfectant system.
I'm just seeing that for the first time too. I want to talk to him about that. I did sign a purchase order for a bunch of UV lights that have reached their life expectancy. We're going to get some new of that, but this is news to me. I'll talk to Matt about that. Check that out.
Another thing I have is emergency alarm call-outs. Are we charged extra for those, or is that all part of the?
We get a couple, and then if once we get past a couple, we get charged. We get so many freebies a month, and then there are some charges.
Okay, just wondering.
Becky had some questions. She pointed out to me the reports did not equal what they were saying we owed, so I got to get with him and so that we're all on the same page.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else?
Yes, Mr. President. Just a couple non-water things. Sesquicentennial Committee. See, I haven't been saying that for months now, and it's getting tough. With respect to the sesquicentennial, we've had a sesquicentennial plaque we've been trying to get from the state of Michigan. The issue there had been they wanted a primary source. We really don't have any information that goes back to 1869. We don't have the original charter. We don't have minutes, that type of thing that go back that far. So I have been searching through the library, and I think we found evidence of the village's centennial celebration on 15 October 1969. So that may be enough for the state. It shows that it's the same date that we had, and it's in the newspaper, goes back to that time. So somebody recognized it back then, so I think we're probably in pretty good shape to be able to go back to the state and get our plaque. That thing has been held up for a while. The other issue is, last meeting, I just handed out to all the council members, Michelle and Joe, a initial list of DPW roles and responsibilities. I think we want to shore that up with potential DPW changes coming up. I did get information back from Lyle, so if the rest of you guys would take some time to finish that up and get it back to me, I'd appreciate it. I got a couple extra copies up here if somebody's misplaced their copy, so I'd like to get that taken care of. A lot of people had some good thoughts that I hadn't included on my list, and so I'd like to complete that. Mr. President, back to you.
Okay, very good. Next would be the code enforcers report is in your packet. You can follow that through. And next is the amended water rates resolution.
That's just in there.
Just information.
Yeah, Russ had asked if we made the amendment. I'm just showing you guys that we made the amendment, but I made it by like certified motion. Rather than re-adapting this, I think this is sufficient. I will talk to Jeff just to be sure, because if not, I'll bring it back to the next meeting.
Okay, very
That's
good.
just fine. And Michelle, were you able to get a copy to the chief?
Yes, well, yes, I gave
Okay.
them to the clerk.
Okay.
And next, any other liaison reports? If not, we're going to go into the general business, which will be the consent agenda, approval of the regular council meeting minutes of August the 10th, and a payment of bills. What is the council's wishes, please?
Mr. President, I'll move the consent agenda be accepted as presented.
Support.
By Clark. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
New business, set wages for the open DPW positions that we intend to hire for a replacement of the present DPW supervisor. What does the council, or the committee, first of all, have any suggestions? Maybe that's where we should start.
Mr. President, I think that we have kind of set a precedent on where we want to start our employees when we hired Victor. And I think we started him at, wasn't it $18 an hour?
I believe it was.
Okay. And then as he came up, then he got either $1 or $2 after he went, it was 90 days. So what I would do is, I would go between $18 and $20 an hour, depending on experience to start, and to set the base hourly rate for the Department of Public Works part-time position at $15 an hour.
All right, is there anyone else of the committee who would like to address these?
Sounds reasonable.
My only question is, what do we pay our part-time police officers?
That's 16?
16.
At 16?
You
16.
still have those?
I
Yeah.
just put them back in.
Yeah, I
it's
think it's
16.
At
16.
16?
Yep, and then after a year, 17.
Are you sure it's not 15 and then to 16? 16
No.
to 17?
16 to 17.
16, 17, and then they get partial uniform allowance also. Yeah, so
I know it's hard to get people at this time, but part-time police officer's already been through the academy.
Right.
Quite often, he's worked at another department,
Most of them are
and
retired.
Yeah.
so they're extremely well experienced.
Mhm.
Well, we may get a part-time employee for the DPW who's just out of high school or something of that nature. So I don't think we should set it at the same rate.
No, that's why I said $15.
You know.
Because it's under.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
well, we was fortunate to get the one we did get though.
Yes, we were.
And the thing is, we need a lot of luck.
Who do we have now?
Victor Curtis.
Victor Curtis.
Yeah, but Victor's a full-time employee.
Yeah.
not
Yeah, it's
part-time.
full-time now.
We don't have a part-time.
We don't have a
employee.
part-time, no. But that's what we was talking about, getting a part-time. 'Cause
Yeah.
for the summer, there's a lot of extra work. And the thing is that, there's things that need to be done, and, it's, other things take precedence sometimes too. Just like they got now, this week, they're gonna go with a fire hydrant, on installation too. And so the thing is that, we're having problems, I have to mention at the same time, in other words, with the backhoe itself. I talked with Ed last week in the weekend, and I told him to take that tractor and get it into the dealer. I called one of a farmer that does farm tractors, and he's certified and everything, but at this time he will not try to tackle the backhoe because of the nature. There's too much, and he's by himself, so he'd rather do the work, in other words. And so the thing is, I did tell Ed, make sure it goes to the dealer. So he's gonna install that tomorrow or Wednesday, I understand. So there's a lot of leakage, apparently from the motor itself and some of the pumps.
Hydraulics.
Yeah,
So that's gonna be expensive, most likely.
I think that tractor's at least 15 years old.
Well, I think it was a 202, if I sort of remember correctly. Talking with Ed there somewhat too, we think it's 202. And, but, nationally, he'd like to have a new one, we don't have it budgeted for it. So I told him, no, it's gonna be fixed. So I wanted to bring this to council too, so, council knows that, we'll be spending some money on it to get it fixed. And he's gonna have to hire somebody to do some of the work if it comes up. So, he already asked one gentleman for something, and he said he couldn't do it because he was having health problems and going through chemo. So, which was not good for us. So that's been delayed just a little bit. So, but I told him to get that tractor in as soon as possible.
You know what, Marvin, I think Mr. President, if he takes it to AIS, they will give him a loaner to use, and as while they're fixing it.
Well, the only thing is, it's a Ford, and then they have the Ford parts too, so
Well,
I don't know if they're
yeah,
interchangeable.
they've got the parts over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but I told him to check and definitely get it in there.
Yep.
So that's my report.
That being said, I will resolve to set the base hourly rate for the Department of Public Works full-time position between $18 and $20 per hour, depending on experience, and to set the base hourly rate for the Department of Public Works part-time position at $15 per hour.
Okay.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? Now, with this hiring a part-time, is it council's wishes that we get them in now to start?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
council agrees. So we will see if we can't get somebody then, either Michelle, in other words, will put a small ad in the paper. Now, the other ads, are running. They're sort of expensive.
Yeah, they're not running every week.
Yeah,
For
so-
our discussion, I
Yeah.
don't have running every week, but Ed found a Facebook page that's just waterworks people. So he put it on there, and he got a couple of, interests, but I don't know that anybody's called. The one guy that did call, and we did get one application on, the one guy that did call, he wants to know what we're paying. So we need to, that's why that's on here. We need to know what the rate is, so.
And the sign out front was very effective last time.
Hey, where are those signs?
I don't know, probably in the garage.
Yeah,
I'll find them.
Yeah, we do.
Maybe we get another one.
Yeah,
But Michelle and I did talk too, and I said, these ads being so expensive, also in the voice and the record, they're mounting up.
we didn't do the voice because the voice was about $400 for a week.
Well,
And they were in the record for 2 weeks, and I just told him last week, don't put them back in. right now. I said I'll add them as needed, but I think you're right, Joe, that the signs were
Well,
really
we
good
got a lot
last
more
time.
response from that than any of the papers we ever put it
Right,
in.
well, maybe this Facebook page will, turn up too, turn up some.
What have you got the best response from?
The help wanted sign that we put in the front yard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cheapest advertising there is, but
Right.
easiest.
So,
So, yeah.
does council have any other suggestions possibly at this time? We're all willing, ready to go.
Yeah, just
So,
need
okay.
some applicants.
Need some applicants, is right. Very good, fine, thank you.
You've got a motion
So
on the
we have a
floor.
motion on the floor, that's what I was just gonna say. Thank you. The thing is, we're gonna have a roll call on this, please, Clark, please.
Ballard,
Yes.
Belkey,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Conant,
Yes.
Wolock.
Yes. Motion carried.
Oh, sleds, I'm sorry, I completely missed you.
You're the new
Oh, I did. I
It's that camel
yeah.
shirt you have on.
He has the most.
Have you made a camel on?
Shirt
Yeah, I can't see anybody anymore.
Well, I hope soon that we can go back to our regular, this can get over for all of us. The old business is the sewer plant, Mr. Clark's department. Do you have anything additional?
No, I'll get with Matt on a couple things and just put eyes on what's happening down there, construction-wise.
Very good. And Mr. Belkey, anything further on the water department?
Yes, we've got a couple updates. So HydroCorp is the entity that I work with on the cross-connection control plan. I have been asking them, what would it cost to come in and do baseline readings for our non-residential taps. We've got 91 of them, schools, the municipal office here, our industry and our commercial facilities. So we've got 91 taps that we have to inspect. I'm still talking to these guys, but just an idea, they presented inspections over a 3-year period for a total of $11,500, which actually isn't too bad.
11.5.
11.5. The thing that I'm interested in doing is doing it in a 2-year period because our cross-connection control plan said that we would have our non-resident facilities checked out within 2 years. So that's 26 July of 2022. So they got to come back and they're going to give us a price. I assume the total is not going to change, but it would be more of a yearly cost. Just in general, as I start to look at different things for water, I'm looking at spreading them over time to reduce the cost per year and some things like that. And I would love to go through years. And I guess we could look at the cross-connection control plan and see if we want to bump it to 3 years, but for $3,000, I don't know that that's worth changing the plan that we put out there and approved. So anyway, continuing to talk to those guys about pricing, but not bad. They guesstimate a certain percentage will have to be re-inspection, so it's just not 91 single inspections, there's some follow-up to that. Moving to the arsenic detention activity, we did get a draft lease agreement back from Macomb County. Had let Jeff take a look at it. Jeff is advising against doing a lease agreement because it potentially keeps us open to liabilities where an easement would not. So Jeff has taken another look at that. It had been easement up all the way up to about a month ago, and then the county introduced the idea of a lease. And I frankly don't know the difference between one or the other, what the advantages or disadvantages. Apparently, though, that is one that you are not as covered from a liability standpoint under a lease agreement vis-a-vis an easement. And there's two components to this. There's a construction easement, as it were, and then there's a permanent easement. Construction easement is a much bigger footprint because you're moving equipment and you're dumping dirt in different places and so on. The operating and maintenance easement is much smaller. That's just to maintain the facility once everything has been put in the ground and covered up. There'll be an electrical panel out there, for example. Anyway, the discussion continues. We are getting really close to being ready to release a bid request. I think we're going to hold off a little bit. Again, that's a project that doesn't make a lot of sense to do right now. It's unlikely it's going to happen before winter, and we're going to get shut down. And so, if we just push it into the spring, doesn't mean we can't release the request for bids late fall, and then give the companies 30 days to come back with a proposal, and then evaluate the proposals, pick somebody, and so on. So it's not dragging our feet, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to push real hard at this moment to get something done that's going to get stopped by the winter. Again, this is a big hole in the ground. They got to get an excavator out there and lift and so on. We also had Roe come out, meet with a crane operator out there just to look at the site, determine whether or not the crane boom can maneuver around in the area. There's some electrical lines there. Not too many significant issues, but Roe has a couple recommendations that they have to get back to me on with respect to maybe forming the concrete containment vessel in the ground instead of precasting it somewhere, bringing it in and trying to drop it in the hole. So there's a couple different things that they can do, and we're taking a look at that. Last but not least, got a notice from Eagle on PFAS inspections. The state has changed Act 399, which is the one that covers waterworks for municipalities and other entities such as schools and so on. They are going to start requiring us to do either quarterly or yearly sampling. I assume we're going to wind up doing yearly because we did have an inspection in 2018, and we were the inspection results came back negative. No indication of PFAS or related substances in our groundwater, and so I assume we're going to just have a yearly requirement. But we don't have a determination on that yet. It's a pretty fresh letter, so we're still analyzing what that means. I've got to make some phone calls, but just something else to deal with now. Mr. President?
Question, Ross.
Yes.
This, the arsenic treatment project you got going, commend you on your hard work. Is this like a $300,000-$400,000 deal? $400,000 deal?
No. I think the cost for the design engineering was, I want to say $23,000, and that's what we're doing right now, design engineering. The cost for the construction engineering is approximately $250,000, and then there's a small amount of engineering contingency money that's in there. The cost now may change a little bit. I assume it's going to go down based upon talking with Roe today, but we don't quite know that. So that is a chunk of money that vies for its place in the village, along with the containment, the filtration vessels at the water treatment plant, and that, of course, was $371,000 for 2 vessels. And so between the 2 of them, it's a chunk of money, and we have to be careful about.
Ross, I don't think I can vote yes on this.
Well, there's no motion.
I'm not trying to be difficult at all.
I got it.
It's not trying to attack you at all, because you're doing great in a very difficult position. But the arsenic treatment plant, we've been drinking this water forever. So I don't look at this as urgent as upgrading the sewer plant. But we cannot give the people in our community another increase. Now, there's eventually, Eagle has got to understand, they don't find these other cities that dump sewage into the Clinton River. None of these things have happened. I can't see voting on this.
I think what you're going to see is the state's going to get a little bit more, onerous is not the right word, but they're going to start inspecting more, right? Look what happened out of Flint, and now there's a $600 million bill that's on the table for somebody to pay, which is you and me. The point is, right now, there's not we don't have a motion on the table to spend money to do the arsenic detention vessel. We're not there at this point, but we will come to a point where it probably will get put on the table.
My point
And
is
then-
they need to give us a grant.
Well, I am sitting down with F&V, talking about funding options that they have. They've got some recommendations. So I've already had one meeting with them. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not,
No, you're doing, this is not against you, you're doing great.
no, I understand. It's a big pill to swallow, having all this
You can't
stuff
swallow any
stack
more
up,
pills.
right? Now, we have a sufficient amount of money in the water component of the budget, but I don't know that if we do those two things, there'll be much left for any other emergencies. That's my concern. So, we do need to prioritize, and we do need to consider what we're gonna use the money for when these projects are ready, and we may defer.
And if I could interject here, if we can keep the arsenic from going into the sewer plant, we're gonna build up down there, we're gonna reach a point where we cannot land
Yeah.
apply our sludge. So it's like, as much as I hate to pay money up here, or it's gonna go downstream, and we're gonna be paying money year after year after year
I just
to
don't
get
know how
rid
we
of this
can add any
hazardous
more to
waste.
this water bill.
I know,
Right.
I know.
Well, I'm not looking at increasing water bills, right? I mean, I'm not said it, and I'm not looking at doing it. It's managing the money we got and working the budgeting on these projects so that things can be done over a period of time. But Mark just put something on our desk about lead line, service line replacements, and that's also sitting out there, right? So we do have, I am taking a look at what are the other options that are out there that we could use aside from dwarf. You know, there may be some other things, and grants certainly part of it. Right? But I got to know what else is there, and so I do have a meeting coming up this next Monday with F&B. They've got some ideas, and in fact, anybody here is invited to that meeting. It's in the Village Hall, just to talk with these guys. They've been doing this kind of stuff, coming up with funding options for municipalities for quite a while. So I want to see what they got to offer.
What time is that meeting, Ross?
I want to say it's 1 o'clock.
On what day?
Monday the first, or Tuesday the 1st of September.
Tuesday?
Yeah, I will let you know. It's either Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
Monday's holiday. Very good, Ross. The thing is, these people in Lansing or wherever, Dave is right. They always keep hitting us small guys. And I think it's about time we start either contacting them and tell them, leave us alone. And have reference to.
We've done everything they've asked of us, but it's,
Yes, yeah, we have. And I understand where you're coming from. I don't know how you turn that spigot
So
off.
in reference to this letter I received again today, last week, it's up to us, we're going to, with the general rule of law, you know, we're gonna have to replace these things. We don't have the money for that.
No, I
And
understand that.
even like, I mean, you say too, that we have, you know, a fund, the fund's gonna go away. You know, that's the way I see it. And, if we don't have it, they gotta back up.
Well, neither do the residents, because I mean, part of that was residents are.
I mean, hey, a lot of people in the community have been hurt with the COVID, with their working.
Life, yeah,
You know, life in general.
Yeah.
It's been not good this year so far.
no.
And so that's why I say, if you know or something, let us know. If we have to meet, I'm ready to meet, and I like to fight for money. So our residents, like Dave says, have paid for this over year after year.
Yeah,
And it's about time it stops or halts to a reason.
yeah. I don't know meaningfully how to tell a state entity to stop. Right?
Well,
maybe this
it's
is
gonna be
gonna
rough.
do something.
It's gonna be rough. But I think we gotta give them the information to do it.
Yeah.
Let them think it. And they push more, we can push a little bit too.
Right.
I mean, we don't wanna, hey, hurt our residents.
No, well, again, I
And that's
wanna
what
make,
you're doing.
I wanna make sure everybody understands. I'm not asking to do anything.
No, no,
I'm
no,
just
you're not,
giving you an
no,
update.
no, you're getting it wrong that way.
But
No,
I just want you to know, I don't want you to think that we're sitting here complacent with what you're saying, because we know there's some big bucks coming up. I'm just saying, you know, I don't think I can vote for it. I mean, we're gonna have to limp along or whatever.
Right,
I don't know what to say, but there's only so much everybody can take.
no, I understand.
You know, and, hey, you're the messenger, you're not the cause, you're not
right.
the cause of the problem, and I'm not trying to attack you.
Right, being that we're.
Just trying to give you input.
Yeah, no, I understand, between a rock and a hard place, you know, we've started these activities, but they are starting to stack up, and at some point, we get to a stage where we don't have the money to do it all, right? And so, we want to be careful about how we move forward in the next couple of years. The good news is we really haven't spent a whole lot of money the last couple of years, so we have a sizable chunk of money in the bank for the water department. But you do those two things, and it pretty well taps you out, I believe.
You know. But
And then there's not a lot of
the
money
only
for anything
increase I'm looking to approve at this time frame is like our normal cost of living increase that, you know, we do every year.
Right, I really do not want to even consider or think about putting before the council
Yeah.
an increase on water bills other than the normal CPI that we have to do. Right. Beyond that, I'm paying it too.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't wanna kill anybody else, I don't wanna kill myself.
you know, it's just,
Very
there's so many
understandable.
people hurting now, businesses hurting.
I have to believe some of this stuff is gonna get deferred, but,
well, we'll have a rebuttal for them, let's try that.
yeah.
So,
Well, and I have talked to Eagle about our situation. I said, hey,
if we're good liaison or attorneys maybe, let's call ourselves that, and then go from there, okay?
Eagle does like us now though, because
Yeah.
we've been cooperating. So that's a
Right.
good position to be in when we
We've
have
always
this
been
conversation.
cooperative,
I got you.
you know.
Yeah. Okay, can we move on?
Yep, I'm done. Thank you.
All right, so, up and coming agenda items, in other words, I should say. This letter from Village of Clinton, we're gonna bring it back to next meeting. Information tonight, okay? And so we'll talk about it next meeting. That's all I have on that.
Yep.
Council, anything else?
Interesting letter.
Okay. Next, we'll go to citizen comments. There's no citizens in the audience. Let the record show. Council comments at this time. Does council have it? I hear none. We will move on. Any community events? None? Okay, we don't have a closed session tonight. And at this time, I'm going to entertain a motion for adjournment. And the time is 7:34.
I so move to adjourn.
Support. Mr. Ballard and Mr. Clark. All in, any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Good, motion carries, meeting adjourned.